Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Yesterday, I said that I was going to go ahead and do a video about Jasmy as I was going over the introduction and kind of taking just a look at the overall market and seeing where we were at. So, today I wanted to kind of honor that and go over Jasmy. Um, Full disclosure, Jasmy is a project that I have been collecting. Uh, I've traded it a little bit. Probably started back in November. Sold off somewhere in December when it reached its peak. And just kind of waited. Again, as I said before, markets go in cycles. So you kind of have to roll with the cycles. Again, that's more swing trading. But Jasmine is also a project that I do look to hold long term. I will just trade the market cycles. That way I can accumulate more and more. And later in another video, I'll show everyone how to do that as well. Again, just really trying to educate people more so on the space. So let's go ahead and just dive right into Jasmy and take a look. First thing, I'm going to go and look at Bybit Learn. I'll leave a link down in the description here. So we can take a look at exactly what Jasmy is. So first thing I want to point out, if we come down here further, so Jasmy is the first legally compliant Japanese crypto coin. It's listed on Japanese exchanges, and it's also recently been listed on another host of exchanges. So if I go over here to CoinMarketCap and come to the Jasmy page, and I also leave a link. In CoinMarketCap, you usually have this overview. You can take a look at the price action and whatnot. But if I go to market, I can see all the different exchanges that it's on. So they've joined a number of different exchanges rather quickly here. So you can see that you can not only buy it in Japan, but you can buy it here on Coinbase Exchange. You can buy it in Binance, not yet on Binance US, which would be really nice. Bittrex, which is an exchange I like, Crypto.com. So it's finally made it to Crypto.com and a couple of others. I know not too long ago it wasn't on those platforms. So kind of coming back over here to Bybit, let's take a look. One thing we have to realize is we need a separation between Jasmy and Jasmy Coin. So Jasmy is the actual organization or foundation behind it, which is building this platform for your data and the Internet of Things. Internet of Things can be anything from the internet to your phone, or from your computer to your phone, to your car, to your fridge. All these different things that you interact with daily that is collecting data. And because it's collecting data, a lot of these companies are also selling your data to other organizations. But one thing Jasmy is trying to solve is how can people keep their data? How can they have say over who has their data or not? Maybe they can even monetize that data themselves as opposed to the larger companies. Coming from a development background, I've seen how some of these larger companies interact with your data. A lot of them will use them for analytics, but others would definitely sell them. And a lot of these enterprise platforms, such as like Adobe, right? They have enterprise solutions that come with a data marketplace. So basically, they're saying, hey, company, let us host your data. Let us take that data. We will actually buy it from you. And I've been in that space and understand how that works. So Jasmy is a little different in the fact that instead of centralizing your data, it's going to decentralize it using the blockchain, and then also lock that data up and allow you as the customer to have some type of platform, or the user to have some type of platform to decide how you want your data sold. So let's go ahead and just take a quick look at exactly what we're doing here with Jasmy. So Jasmy is designed specifically for the Internet of Things. The IoT as a system includes computers, cars, phones, all those things we just talked about. It comprises both mechanical and digital items, which feature unique identifiers and are capable of transmitting data elsewhere. So again, your data being transferred. While the IoT promises to exchange customer experience, it comes at a potentially heavy price and chances for privacy infringement. The massive amounts of data involved create significant security risk with the possibility of information leakage and compliance violations. We've seen this plenty of times. We've seen our data and our information leaked on the dark web, people getting into all of our accounts and things. And that's just because simply we have one centralized system of storing data. All a hacker needs to do is hack that centralized system, and they have everybody's data. So again, let's start to look at what I was talking about before, separating Jasmy, the foundation, from Jasmy, the blockchain. So Jasmy's blockchain platform is designed to recover and protect individual data sovereignty. It blends conventional IoT technology with blockchain technology, granting people the capacity to retain a secure control over their own data. So again, you're retaining your data. You're deciding what to do with it. And believe me, there will be a bunch of companies that want to purchase it. So one thing that kind of caught my interest here is some of the people that Jasmy are working with. So though Jasmy is fairly new to the crypto realm, it is already attracting the attention of big names in the tech industry, including Transcosmos, Panasonic, and Vio, which we all know kind of integrated with Sony, and actually the executives of Jasmy or former executives of Sony. So this is a big thing as well. So again, I'm going to leave this link up here if you want to go ahead and learn a little bit more about Jasmy, as well as just the company profile. This website can either be translated into English or Japanese for the Jasmy website. You can come down just on the first page, see some of the officers, see their former endeavors, Sony all over the place here, which is really great. And take a look at the actual underlying product. Now, one other thing that I want to bring up about Jasmy that it is doing, as Jasmy coin itself is the token that is used on the Jasmy platform. So you're getting paid for your data in Jasmy every single time you decide, hey, I want to sell my data to a third-party company. Because of that, Jasmy is also somewhat of a currency. So one exchange, Binance, has decided, they started this program a little while back. If you have idle coins sitting on their exchange, they allow you to earn interest by saving them. So basically, just like with a bank account, you're going to put it in a savings account on Binance, but you get some pretty ridiculous yields. So you see here, if you stake for 30 days, staking is also just a crypto term used for basically meaning hold and earn some type of interest on holding. So if you hold for 30 days, you get an annualized interest rate of 20%, and for 60 days, 35%. This is huge for a lot of investors who are looking at entering in the space and holding for the long term. They can hold, they can earn extra funds on their crypto, which is huge for a lot of people, again, who just want to hold long term, and they can continue to accumulate more coins just by holding. They may not want to dollar cost average. There's a lot of people who do DCA, which I'm a big proponent of, or who decide I just want to put in a large chunk and sit there and wait and see where it goes. So this is a big program that's happening. I think it's a limited offering. So once so much has been locked up, or so many people have locked their tokens up, I don't think it will allow you to lock up more into the next lockup period. So this is a major update for Jasmy that I think is huge, and I think that everyone should look into. So again, I want to leave this up here. Now, this offering for Binance Lockup is not available for U.S. customers. You can use a VPN if you want to, but again, it's not available for U.S. customers right now. So, going further into Jasmy, I'm going to come back over here to CoinMarketCap. let's take a look at the price. Right now, Jasmy is still hovering around the 7 cents price, so still doing pretty good. It's been holding this support for quite some time now. And considering that it dropped down from about 39 cents, this is to me a great accumulation area, and we'll see in the charts what happened previously with accumulation here. You can also take a look at the market cap, only 331 million. There's plenty of cryptos and who have a single or double digit billion or even triple digit billion market cap. So for something like this that's actually doing something, solving a problem, has really good backing, has the backing of their country, I would consider this to be a really good hold. Again, something to buy and hold on to throughout the year of 2022, just to see what kind of gains, right? We have our volume, 42 million in the last 24 hours. So people have been trading it, whether they've been buying it or selling it. The volume is 42 million. And our total circulating supply is 4.75 billion. Now the total supply is much different, but you're looking at 50 billion. But we have about 10% of that circulating right now. So we don't know when they're going to release. We don't know if that release is going to, what form that release is going to come in, or they release the rest of the supply. But they'll give us a lot of updates there. So one thing I want to do is take a look at where Jasmy has been and see where we're at now. Typically when I'm looking for projects to trade or to hold on to, again, I'm going to go over the actual project itself, see if it's useful, see if it's something that people want. 2, I'm going to see where it's listed, how well it's doing on those exchanges people are accumulating or selling. 3, I'm going to look at the team behind the project. And then finally, I'm going to see where the project is in its cycle. So projects usually come into the market at pretty high valuations. As you can see, Jasmy came in at almost $4. This is typically due to private coin sales before it even reaches any type of exchange, even a decentralized exchange. And then they usually open it for a select few people even after that to come in and buy it on a decentralized exchange before it gets added to a centralized exchange. And basically all this is doing is it's the team raising money so that they can build out the project so they can start the process. But typically when it launches onto a centralized exchange, you can see here, it started off at $4. I'm not sure exactly which exchange this was. I know it was pre-Coinbase. In Binance, it started off at $4. You typically see this massive sell-off, and then people buy it up. But typically, once it launches, it's going to go down pretty far. As you can see here, it's even made it as low as 1 or 2 cents, where a lot of people were accumulating. So in this August, or really mid-July through October, people really accumulated in this 1 to 2 cents. And these are the people that saw the largest gains in the short term, right? And when it shoots up to 29 cents, or I believe actually at one point it got up closer to 39 cents, those people are going to realize those massive gains. So now we've come back down, and it's almost like turning back the clock, right? We're basically back in this area. And what we would typically see is this long continuation here of accumulation. We'll see these peaks. And then you typically start to see, and you don't see it on this chart yet because it hasn't gotten that far, but I'm just going to illustrate this where you typically see kind of a rounding here at the bottom. And then typically you'll see a lot of traders really start to get in somewhere up around here. So you really want to try to get in early. That way you get a chance to realize all of these profits. So this is a 10x just up to this level, right? And then you'll start to see the vast majority of the traders get in on this project here. So one thing I wanted to start doing on my videos, which I believe is pretty big, is teaching people and helping them understand how to look at a coin on the blockchain. This will help you in many different ways. For instance, the other day I sent some VeChain to Binance US. I did not see it immediately, supports it up to 24 hours. I went to Blockchain Explorer. I took a look at the transaction, made sure that it was in that wallet. Because as long as it's in that wallet on the exchange, it just means that the exchange hasn't posted it to the front end yet for me to see or interact with. But at least I know that it didn't go anywhere, and I was able to do this because I understand how to go to the Blockchain Explorer. This is Etherscan, which is Ethereum's Blockchain Explorer. You can go ahead, you can type in an address, a transaction hash, a block, a token, anything, and see the information for it. So I actually just went directly to CoinMarketCap, clicked on the actual contract. So Jasmy is a smart contract, basically meaning, for a moment, sorry. Basically meaning that it's a token built on Ethereum and has some type of logic built into it. So we can see the same types of things here on the the Blockchain Explorer. We can see it's an ERC20 token. We can see where the price is. We can see the fully diluted market cap. We can see the max supply. We can see how many people are holding this token, which is important. You don't want to be in a token that no one's holding. So right now we have 17,000 holders. We have 107,000 transfers. We see the actual contract address where if you ever want to just quickly come back to this contract, you can copy this, save it somewhere, come back to the Etherscan here, and search that contract, and it'll bring you right back to this page. Now, one thing I want to educate everyone on is what decimals are. So decimals basically is referring to how much this can be divided up. So typically, if you have one decimal space, it just means that you have 50 billion.0, right? So you can really only divide this to the tens. Typically, what you see with cryptocurrency is that it's fractional in nature. So that's why somebody can own a tiny fraction of a Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, I believe, is also 18 decimals. Most cryptocurrencies are. Basically meaning that this is fractional. You can own a fraction of this 50 billion, right? So you can own a fraction of a token. Another thing to look at here, if we scroll further down on Etherscan, we can see all the transactions that ever took place. One thing I love about blockchain is it's completely transparent. I can see the transactions. I can see where they went to. I can see where they've come from. I may not know who owns those addresses, but at least I can see. I can see the quantity. I can see, oh, these people are trading 500,000 Jasmy, right? Like, that's pretty significant. Or they could be accumulating it, which happens a lot. You can see the holders, which gives you the address and the percentage of these people holding, which is typically really good because you can a lot of times track this back to an organization or the team behind the project and see how much they actually hold. So right now, the top wallet holder only holds 11% of the supply, which is great. Again, in a lot of projects, you'll see the top wallet holder holds maybe like 50% or 20% or 30% of the project, which is still all very high. And then the rest of the token holders hold fractional amounts of the actual supply. Another thing to look at is to understand your actual smart contract. Smart contracts, you can come directly on the Blockchain Explorer. You can see the contract. So you can see what you're allowed to do. And typically this is what's going to be seen on third-party interfaces, right? So you can see what you can do with the contract. You can have an allowance, meaning that you can send from an owner to a spender. And again, you don't even need something like a MetaMask or an exchange wallet to do these things. A lot of people don't realize they can interact directly with the contract from the Blockchain Explorer. You can see the balance of a particular address. You can see the decimals, the name, the ticker symbol, the total supply. Now, some of these, you see that it has these input fields, and those just correspond to the fact that these are functions realistically in the code. So they're going to take some type of parameter. So the parameter here is going to be the owner's address and the spender's address. So who are you sending it to and who is receiving it, right? And the same here with writing the contract. So this is typically reserved for like the developers or, other people in the organization who need to say approve. So they need to approve a certain transaction. So you get the spender address, and then you get the amount, and you can write. So typically when you write, it will need to pay some sort of fee on the blockchain in order to send that transaction, right? You can decrease an allowance, increase an allowance. You can do a transfer. I'll go more in depth in this at another point because there are some contracts that do a lot more, including one of the projects that I'm currently working on now. So yeah, that is just kind of a way for you to come in and take a look at the smart contract, interact with it. I think if you're going to get into crypto, this is one thing that we should be doing, really interacting and learning about the project. So I'm going to wrap up here just by going over the chart again. I went over it a little bit last night, but let's take a look at what we're looking at now for short term, long term, and see what the possibilities are. So first, actually, before I get into Jasmy, I'm going to take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still kind of stuck in this range between 40 and 42,000. Again, as I said before, we could see a drop down of about 37, which is very possible, or we could see this range out sideways. Now, this is in some type of descending pattern. It broke out, and typically this will be a retest, but then it broke back into the pattern. So now we're seeing all of these moving averages diverge here, or converge here. So what I'm expecting possibly is either some more sideways movement. You also have to consider the upside and the downside. So more sideways movement, or it's possible this is getting pretty close here as this breaks out, or we do come back down and test this. So you need to have a plan for every scenario. But again, we are pretty low on the RSI, so this could be a fake out for people who are kind of bearish in the market, right? So let's go back over and take another look at Jasmy coin. Again, we're in this falling descending channel. We're on the 4-hour chart, so this is kind of going to determine what's going to happen over the next couple of days. Now, Bitcoin doesn't drop, and we don't see a drop down to about 6 cents. My expectation is we're being depressed by this 21 moving average, and this is basically just the last 21 candles in the 4-hour. If I go to the daily, it'll be the last 24 candles on the daily chart. So I'm expecting this to either range sideways a little bit until we can move above these moving averages. We have all of these moving averages converging all around the same point. So this means that this is kind of a decision-making area for Jasmy. We're either going to continue to go down, which I'm only realistically expecting if the market goes down, continues to go down, or we'll blast through these and we'll start to sit above, come back maybe, retest it above these moving averages and continue to move forward. But it's very possible that we range sideways for a little bit. And that's kind of what I'm thinking of in the next couple of days or so. So now let's go to the daily chart. We can see what our kind of long-term outcome will be over the next few weeks. Daily, honestly, is not looking as good. We have this 21 moving average, which is kind of depressing the price and keeping it down. We can see here on the MACD, we're below it, and it's possible that we're doing another negative cross on the MACD, which is going to form these red candles, right? Which means that we're going to see some more negative price action. Now, this doesn't mean that it has to cascade down like this. It could mean that we see a number of red candles for these days. And red candles and green candles can trend sideways. It just means that the majority of the pressure that day was in the selling, which is typical, which is normal. We can see that we have officially entered oversold territory. We have dropped below 40, or now in the 30s on the RSI. So this is what I would consider the perfect time for people who want to accumulate. You need to accumulate here. Again, what I'm expecting to see is maybe some type of ranging like this. And you typically see this in crypto. Let me just continue to the side. And after it's ranged for a while, you typically start to see this. And it starts to form this, what is called a rounded bottom. And then typically once you get to this rounded bottom, you form some type of cup. You see a little bit of a handle. And then you typically see a blast off. So a lot of major traders will try, people who trade, swing trade, day trade, will probably not really enter the market into this area, and you'll see a whole lot of FOMO. typically, and don't pay attention to the dates, this is just a diagram. Typically, though, you'll see the smart money accumulating down here. And that doesn't mean put a bunch of it in, it just means slowly dollar cost average. Put a little bit in here, a little bit there, and then once you really start to see this candle rounding bottom forming, then maybe accumulate a little bit more, and then watch for the blast off. So this would typically blast off here. You get a cup, a handle, and then your next blast off. Then you see a cup, another major cup form. And typically the way you can measure this is just to measure the distance. So we can kind of guess that this will go from maybe here. And we can see how much, if you get in right here, it will continue to go. So you can probably see if this move may be somewhere around 28 cents. They're usually typically around 70% of that actually. So maybe a little bit lower, maybe 25 cents into Jasmy. And if we take a look on the weekly chart, and again, this is just on Coinbase, so it's not going to be a whole lot of data as it just launched on Coinbase. I'm pretty sure it's like in November or December. On the weekly, we can see we don't even have all these moving averages on the weekly because they haven't even come into play yet. We don't have that many candles. But on the weekly, we can see we have this huge shoot up of the price, and it's so depressed. And again, this usually happens with projects, especially projects that just launch, and that's normal. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, guys. Everybody, this is Jasmy Coin. I hope that all the information I gave you was useful. These first couple of videos probably going to sound like I'm spitting out a lot of info, but realistically, I'll start to break down some of these concepts from charting to exploring the blockchain, to going to CoinMarketCap, understanding how to look at coins, how to find different projects and whatnot. So we'll break those down into smaller videos. But I did want to go ahead and release a video on Jasmy, since that's something that I said I would do. And I think the next video, I got a reply on one of my videos to go ahead and do a video about different wallets and how to set up and get into the space. So I think I'll do that on my next video before I get into any more projects. But again, that's Jasmy for you, everyone. And I hope that you all have a great rest of your day. And if there's anything else that you want me to cover again, feel free to leave a comment.